Goeiedag! Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Well, well, well. You know, it seems like you can never be too corrupt in South Africa. Take the Secretary General, Ace Magashule. He was given the task of telling the world what the National Executive Committee of the ANC, or the NEC, had decided at their latest Indaba. And I've attached a video here which has about 20 minutes of his speech. And you will just see all the BS in it. It is quite, I mean, I'm not going to pick it out for you. You can pick it out. It just sticks out like, you know, it's all over the place. It's a complete hocus pocus speech. But the thing that set the world alight was in the speech, he says, the party's National Executive Committee had asked the government to appoint a task team to explore quantitative easing. Remember back in 2008, when the world nearly fell off its rails because of the disaster going on Wall Street, too big to fail? They pumped in trillions of dollars to keep the world going. You can do that with money. So what Ace Magashule is talking about is just printing billions of rands just to keep things like Eskom afloat. You imagine what that's going to do to the value of the rand. Ain't going to be good, is it? So, quantitative easing is a process through which central banks boost struggling economies. Essentially, they create money out of thin air and buy all kinds of assets to bolster demand and inject money into the market. It worked for the US and Europe, but South Africa is a different kettle of fish. You bet. What they're doing is to put in simple terms, what they're doing is they're going to dilute the value of the rand, because as soon as you create billions of rand out of nowhere, the rand's value will go down by an equitable amount. And then they will steal that money and put it into their own bank accounts. It's like a commission at another level. It's quite incredible. Okay, here comes Ace Magashule's speech. The man who featured in Peter Myberg's book called The Gangster State. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. And don't forget, tonight at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time, we are having Dexter on live on this channel, and the fellow from Dexter will be talking to Dwayne in a Q&A. See you then. Bye for now.
Further, I'm going to invite the SG to present our statement. So we have convened you post the NEC Lekgotla, which was held at St. George's in Irene. So SG, these are the journalists that always tell our story.
Thank you. Which one?
This is the first one. This is the last one. This is the last one. We start with this one.
And the last one.
Yes.
Now let me take this opportunity. Thank you. Very sorry about this. I was ready until I was told that there are some youth members who were marching, but nevertheless, it's not an excuse. Let's apologize. It won't happen again. Let me read the statement of the ANC on the outcomes of the National Executive Committee, as well as the ANC Lekgotla, which we held over 3 days and 1 day, National Executive Committee. A 5-year program to translate the ANC contract with the people of South Africa into action. That's what we want to do this year. We are from elections, and we therefore want to ensure that what people have said, what people have demanded, what people were protesting about, what made people angry, we now translate our contract, our manifesto, into a contract with the people of South Africa. And we want to do it in action. So the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, the NEC, met in its annual Lekgotla from the 1st to the 3rd of June 2019. You know, Lekgotlas are platforms and gatherings where the ANC, NEC, alliance partners, SACP, COSATU, SANCO, and other cadres in Parliament we invite, as well as other individual members of the ANC, be it cadres deployed in various sectors of society and all spheres of government, to discuss a common program with the primary focus on the transformation of society and the building of a better life for all. From as early as 1994, we have been talking about a better life for all, and that's what our people now demand. So the 20 June 2019 Lekgotla took place in the context of the electoral mandate received by the ANC nationally and in all 8 provinces, and the recent establishment of the 6th administration. It also takes place from the backdrop of the 25th year review of our democracy. The main focus of the Lekgotla was therefore to translate the election manifesto mandate into a concrete 5-year program for implementation. The manifesto is not just a document of the ANC. It is a document which ANC consulted thoroughly with the people of South Africa, thoroughly with the alliance partners, SACP, COSATU, SANCO, stakeholders, the Youth League, business, but a compact with the people of South Africa to continue with the revolutionary program for the acceleration of transformation of society and move faster to build a better life for all by decisively tackling unemployment, poverty, and inequalities. Through engagements with our people during the campaign, there were a lot of issues which our communities raised. The top 10 concerns that our people raised are jobs, obviously unemployment, issues of human settlement, far away from the working place, a bigger cry about water and roads in Limpopo, in Northwest, in Makana, in various parts of our country, electricity, sanitation, crime and corruption, education, land, and I think all South Africans requested the ANC once and for all to cohere and unite so that we are able to implement what we have actually committed as the ANC in terms of our manifesto. So 25-year review, we looked at it, what we have done in the 25 years since 1994, emerging from the divisions of the past. We have indeed dismantled the legal and institutional edifice of apartheid colonialism and constructed a new society based on the Constitution that guarantee political, social, economic, and environmental rights for all. From being a global pariah, South Africa took its place amongst the community of nations, advancing the African agenda, in peace, security, development, and integration, and as part of progressive humanity in multilateral forums. 5 successful ANC administrations for that period of 25 years, working with the people. We have put in place progressive social wage that protects the dignity of the vulnerable, the children, the elderly, the disability, and we extended basic services to millions of our people. People who did not have houses, people who did not have access to electricity. More than 70% households have now access to electricity. People with no water, sanitation, and refuse removal to millions, as well as free health care, and we built and upgraded roads and social infrastructure in disadvantaged areas where the majority live. And the economy, after decades of recession, grew. The GDP tripled and employment doubled over this period of 25 years. And on the fiscal side, we reduced the apartheid debt, because people forget that we come from a particular history, from 48.3% of the GDP in 1994 to 22% in 2008. And it spiraled again, unfortunately, from 55.8% of GDP in 2018, following the global financial crisis. But despite this progress, there are persistence of triple fault lines of poverty, unemployment, and inequalities. And it is based on race and gender, and remain major impediments to progress. Learning lessons from the first 25 years, we must therefore tackle the root causes of these persistent fault lines with determination and thorough grassroots engagement. We must do with all South Africans. And we have said to the South African ANC government, they will release the 25-year review discussion document, which should be used across society and in the ANC, in the alliance, stakeholders, to reflect on the lessons from the past 25 years, as well as how we want our society to look like in the next 25 years. As the ANC, you know, we have said we are very confident that we will take South Africa forward. We are already planning for the next 25 years. We're not planning for 5 years. We are planning for the next 25 years so that South Africa becomes a better place for everybody to live in it, black and white, to continue building what we dreamt about, a non-racial, non-sexist, united, democratic, but prosperous South Africa, and I will come to the part of prosperity. Our 5-year program of action, moving from now to 2024, in terms of growing South Africa, Lekgotla agreed on 8 things. The Lekgotla identified areas for implementation over the term of the 6th administration from 2019 to 2024 that will form the foundation of our manifesto. We are just going to deliver the manifesto which we promised to the people. We are just going to be led by our conference, national conference resolution. Strategy and tactics document will continuously lead us blacks in general, Africans in particular, but generally all South Africans, black and white, as we said in the Freedom Charter. So number one, what we are going to do, we are going to transform the economy to serve all South Africans and create jobs. But jobs are not just created by government. Government creates a conducive environment for investment. And I know at some stage one young man said, this investment, we don't want this investment. We want investment in South Africa who will come here, create jobs, pay decent salaries, treat South Africans like South Africans, don't bring many foreign employees except where we need the technical skills. We need those who are going to be caring and who wants to make whatever profit they make, but they know that the lives of South Africans must be bettered. So you know we have a national minimum wage. Number two, we want to invest in the capabilities of all the people through an education and skills revolution and health. And that's why we have merged the Department of Higher Education together with Science and Technology, because we want to ensure that our children at standard 3 or grade 3, they start actually learning all these things about the fourth industrial revolution, be it robotics and many other things. We also, number 3, want to say we are going to advance social transformation through strengthening of the social wage. And you know this is how we have survived in the midst of global crisis. Our social network was good, and that's what we are going to do now. We are going to advance social transformation through strengthening of social wage. And we are going to tackle persistence of apartheid special development to build sustainable and safe human settlement, towns and rural areas, and effective local government. This is the time during this period where we want to see new cities, new towns being created. And I'm sure with capable ministers like Lindwe Sisulu in human settlement, water and sanitation, Menko Sazana Dlamini Zuma in the local government, and many others, those clusters coming together, agriculture and all that, we are indeed going to make sure, working with municipalities, that we are not going to continue building houses far, far, far further away from the working places. This is one of the resolutions we have taken. It has always been our wish, our dream, and what we have actually fought for. Work closer to the working place. We want to ensure that we advance nation building and social cohesion and a safe South Africa for all. And if you look at the ministers we have appointed, elected, those ministers are going to ensure that there is nation building and social cohesion. And I'm happy in most of the provinces, even younger people are the ones who are dealing with arts, sports, arts and culture. But it is not just going to be about them. Municipalities, national government, there is not going to be any silo mentality as we move forward. We are also going to build a better Africa and world, because Lekgotla appreciate the implementation of conference resolutions such as the downgrading of the Israel embassy into a liaison office, solidarity with the people of Cuba, Venezuela, Sahrawari, Palestine, and we have said we must continuously sustain our relationship which we have started with BRICS countries and Latin America, whilst working with all countries globally. But you know who are your friends in struggle, who have been there, who are reliable forces, and we have to ensure that we also show solidarity with them, because solidarity is what has brought the ANC and the people of South Africa where we are, and working together with the continent of Africa. So we are indeed going to ensure that there is peace and stability in our continent. And we are going to review, renew, and build a capable, honest, developmental state and social compact. We said developmental state is not this theory all the time we talk about. We need to break it down. We need to ensure that when we talk developmental state, this time around we are not theorizing about it. It must indeed be developmental. And the focus of the sixth administration is on accelerated implementation, working with all South Africans, because we as the ANC, from 1994, we have always said the people are the ones who can actually determine their history, their destiny. We want to work side by side with our communities, black and white, angry, those who have protested. We are saying, Marumo Fasi, this is the time for all of us as South Africans to work together. So each of these 8 areas have apex priorities. The 8th area I've included there is solidarity and international cooperation. We must work hard on energy, and resources shall be directed and around which we shall build social compacts with all stakeholders. We need, as South Africans, to never go back to the days of apartheid, where we see racism rearing its head once more. We are an organization which is not racist. We are going to work hard on the ground, in our communities, in our structures. We are no more just going to talk non-racialism, and you don't see it within our structures, you don't see it in parliament, you don't see it within the sphere wherever we live. Because the only organization which can actually make sure that there is no racism, we have a non-racial South Africa, is the African National Congress, the home of everybody. Racism, unemployment, and inequality remains, as I've said, one of the principal challenges confronting society. And almost 10 million South Africans, we are told, are unemployed. But Lekgotla agreed that unemployment is now going to be a national emergency. We are declaring unemployment a national disaster. And this is where we are going to want our deployees, ministers, MECs, premiers, councillors, those in SOEs, we want them to focus on implementation and stop planning for life and stop talking and stop theorizing. Lekgotla agreed to reduce unemployment from 27% to 14% in the next 5 years. And whilst focusing on skilling and reskilling program to 3.5 million young South Africans, will be focusing on them. And the ANC plans to achieve massive job creation on the back of the industrial strategy, job summit initiatives, Operation Pakisa, private-public growth initiatives. Those are the areas we are going to try and deal with this challenge of unemployment. A reimagined industrial strategy seeks to diversify the economy, develop and invest in targeted sectors, facilitate the participation of black people and women in the economy, and create jobs. The strategy is export-orientated, target labor-intensive sectors as well as small business and cooperative development, broaden participation, and with stakeholders' involvement at the center. And the industrial strategy targets the following 10 sectors: automotives, clothing, textile, leather, footwear, gas, chemicals, plastics, renewables, steel and metal fabrication, tourism, high-tech sectors, the creative industry, oceans economy, and agriculture and agro-processing. It was agreed by all that all deployees will ensure that the resolutions of the 54th National Conference will be fully implemented in this regard. The National Executive Committee, Lekgotla, agreed to expand also the mandate of the South African Reserve Bank just beyond price stability to include growth and employment. It also directed the ANC government to consider constituting a task team to explore quantity easy measures to address intergovernmental debts, to make funds available for developmental purposes. These matters, ladies and gentlemen, should consider inflationary impact on the currency and the poor, and all must be done to cushion them. This is consistent practice by developed countries to save their economies. This will go a long way in dealing decisively with the triple challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequalities. Lekgotla also identified current challenges confronting Eskom as a national crisis, and noting the fiscal and economic threat that this poses. And Lekgotla resolved that fixing Eskom, and not only Eskom, SAA and many other parastatals or entities, should be an apex priority. The ANC will strive to undermine apartheid spatial planning as part of national effort to ensure integration of communities. And the ANC must embark on a program of building new cities which will have places of settlement closer to work and other social amenities. Government will support strategic economic zones with the focus of unlocking economic potential of each zone and therefore creating sustainable jobs. This will in addition create self-sustaining small towns and help slow the rapid urbanization process with its attendant challenges, because we have identified a lot of non-viable municipalities. You can send the best expert, the best DG to any local government. They will never do anything if that local government does not have